On the agenda, we're now looking at the topic of travel, and specifically if you've ever claimed travel insurance. Is it something you find useful? Do you need to have it? Because I've noticed airlines will always try to sell you a policy when you're buying a ticket. But is this something you actually opt for when you're already parting with quite a bit of cash for the flight? Usually I have to admit that I do not. But no surprises on this one. Policybazaar.ae has said that there has been a significant rise in demand for travel insurance in 2021 to 2022 in the UAE. The fintech company said they saw a 150% increase in sale of travel insurance policies in the past 3 months compared to the first 3 months of this year. Now, I would think that has a lot to do with summer travels, but to talk all things about this insurance, Toshita Chauhan, the business head of travel at Policybazaar.ae, joins us now. Toshita, good morning. Thanks for joining us on the agenda.
Thanks, Sona. Thanks for having me.
Now, from what it seems like, absolutely everyone seems to be traveling this summer. It's obviously based on the statistics that we just discussed. It must be a very good time for business for you.
Indeed. In fact, as you rightly mentioned, we've seen a 150% rise in travel insurance sales and even a further rise in the inquiries that we're getting. I think people were earlier just buying it purely, for the visa application process because there was a document that they had to present, which had to be a certain travel insurance policy copy. But now people are more aware. They want to know what are the covers and, if there were any mishap on their travel and on their holiday, would that be covered, etc. So 100% people are, inquiring more. They're more aware. Around us, we can see in our own office, people are traveling even for a shorter duration during Eid holiday for 2-3 days, and they still want, a travel insurance cover so that they are covered for any unforeseen damages.
What is the main issue? What's the most often claimed issue when it comes to insurance for UAE customers specifically?
So see, I think people have this conception about travel insurance that, you could claim for anything if anything goes wrong. But that's not the case for all customers. So the policy has certain guidelines. The most claimed things that we see are, for example, flight delays, baggage loss, baggage delays. These are the recent claims that have come up, and probably more has to do with the global situation around the airports, which were probably not prepared for the kind of traffic that they've seen. The COVID claims, which were up until probably 8 months back, which were at the peak, have now slowly gone down, and we're seeing more of the pure travel insurance claims relating to flight delays, baggage loss, baggage delays coming up more.
But you mentioned their COVID claims are going down, but how much of an issue still is this? So, for example, if you get stuck in a place, you get COVID, you need to quarantine, and all of a sudden you're accumulating these extra costs that you didn't plan for your stay, for food, for being in another country. Is this included still in policies? How much are people requesting this specifically?
So the kind of policies that we as Policybazaar typically sell, we've put this up as a cover, which is an essential cover in all the policies that we sell, which is a COVID-19 cover, which basically ensures that if you were to contract COVID-19 in another country on your holiday, the insurance company would pay a certain amount per day, which would be valid for your quarantine, whether that quarantine facility is a hotel or a hospital, and any medical expenses related to this would also be covered. One thing which I think your listeners should know is that any pre-existing medical condition that a customer has, a policyholder has, would not be covered in this policy, because the travel insurance is not a health insurance cover. It covers your emergency medical expenses. So anything which you did not have as a pre-existing condition, if you were to develop something like that, or you were to have an accident, etc., then definitely all that is covered. And with our partners that we work with, they guarantee you a cashless reimbursement, and you just have to make sure that you are informing the insurance company as soon as you know that you have contracted COVID or you are in an emergency situation, so that they can make a note of it. And obviously you may have certain flights, hotels, connecting flights, or your flights return back home, which may get delayed, or you may need to postpone that depending on the number of days you need to quarantine in that country. That also is covered, but everything has a limit. So it may not be up to an unlimited expense. As per the type of policy that you're buying, each item will have a limit on how much you can claim.
And an issue that people are having in particular at the moment is visa delays. Is this something that insurance can actually cover? Because, for example, a lot of people out there, and in fact, a listener got in touch with me to say that she had made her travel plans for her whole family. A lot of those costs were non-refundable, but despite applying for a visa about 6 weeks ago, she still had no sort of report or information about her passport and when it was going to come back. Since in order to apply to go to Europe, you do need to get travel insurance, can people actually use this to support their issue that they're having with visa delays and changes that they may have to make to their trips because of this? Unexpected.
Right. So unfortunately, travel insurance does not cover visa delay. What it does cover to an extent is visa rejection. So for example, if I were traveling to any of the Schengen countries and I had applied and my visa was rejected due to some reason, then they would cover a certain amount of the visa application to be refunded back. But any visa delay is not covered by travel insurance.
And one last one for you. We've seen a big images of misplaced bags. That's a big concern. There was a Delta flight, of course, that flew simply to get bags out of Heathrow. How much is this specific issue of lost luggage growing? Is this something people are really concerned about?
Yes. So we've seen, we sell multiple type of policies, right? One is a very basic cover, which is mostly for your personal accident and emergency medical expenses and sort of complies with a country's basic visa requirement. And the other one is a more enhanced cover, which would include your, baggage delays, flight missed connections, flight delays, flight cancellations. And we've seen that in the last 3 to 4 weeks, we've seen, that people are buying those policies more, which have all these contents of, baggage delays and missed baggage, all those allowances that the insurance company would pay for.
I've always thought that travel insurance is one of those things that people don't actually claim because, you could have, let's say, delayed baggage or a delayed flight or something, and you just think it's more hassle to try to claim something that you maybe don't have faith is going to come through. Do people actually really make claims on their travel insurance, or do you find that people just manage to deal with the issues that they have, unless it's a really serious case?
No, absolutely. People do make claims. And I think in the recent past, people have become more aware, even if it's so for example, for you to get a delayed flight claim, you need to at least have a delay of minimum 6 hours before the insurance company sort of claim kicks in, right? So people, when we get claim reports, we get a full organized report, whether it's a, delayed baggage, it's a missed baggage. If you have a missed baggage, you need to provide proof of ownership of, the contents of the baggage. So if I'm claiming for a laptop or a lost phone, I need to prove to the insurance company that I did own that in the first place. So whether it's a proof of an invoice or a credit card statement. So people do claim that, definitely. And we advise people to claim that as well.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning and for advising us and walking us through that process.
Thank you, Sona. Thank you so much.
Toshita Chauhan, who is the business head of travel at Policybazaar.ae, talking us through travel insurance and why that is going up. We're over now to the ARN News Center with your news headlines.